I have 6 different brands of HomeKit smart plugs, and today we're going to find out which brands that you should avoid and which brands that you should buy for your HomeKit smart home. And at the very end of the video, I'll be showing you guys which brand has been my absolute favorite over the past couple years. And it's not who you might expect. Now, if you're unfamiliar with smart plugs and what they can do for you, basically they're a very inexpensive way to make virtually anything smart. You can put a smart plug on a lamp to keep your existing bulb, on a fan to keep a room cool, or my favorite way, you can put one on a coffee pot and have it automatically start making coffee in the morning. Now keep in mind that with any HomeKit smart plug, you will need a HomeKit hub like a HomePod Mini or an Apple TV in order to control these smart plugs remotely and run automations. All of these smart plugs will have a fan, light, and outlet attribute that's exposed in the Home app. So with all the many brands out there and new ones that just have been released, which ones should you avoid and which ones should you actually buy? Starting with the ones to avoid, first up is the new Belkin Wemo smart plug with Thread. Setup was easier than most since it uses NFC and works exclusively with HomeKit, meaning it does not work with Amazon or Google and does not require a third-party app. This means that adjusting any settings and installing the updates are all done in the Apple Home app. There is no energy monitoring, if that's a feature that you need. There's an indicator light on the side of the smart plug that is not exposed to HomeKit and cannot be turned off, which means that it will shine in the dark. But that's not the biggest issue with this smart plug. Belkin's new model supports Thread, which is a newer smart home standard that's supposed to make devices more reliable and have faster response times than non-Thread supported devices. And that sounds great. But in day-to-day use, it's not as good as it sounds. The smart plug acts as a Thread router on the network and not a border router, which means that you will need a Thread-enabled device like a HomePod or a newer Apple TV in order to use the Thread feature on the Belkin smart plug. Otherwise, the smart plug will default to the slower and less reliable connection of Bluetooth. It took a while for the plug to switch over to the Thread connection, and once it did, I noticed that it did not respond any faster than a non-Thread compatible device like Miros or TP-Link. Many people have had issues with this smart plug staying connected, but I've had this smart plug for about a week now and using it in different rooms, and I've not had any issues with the connection. If you're looking for a Thread compatible smart plug with energy monitoring, then Eve Energy is going to be a good option. I've reviewed the Eve Energy plug before in a different video, and I will leave that link down in the description below. The next smart plug that I would avoid is by Leviton. Leviton is fairly new to the HomeKit world and is similar to the very popular brand Leviton, as they sell smart switches that work with HomeKit. Their new HomeKit compatible smart plug works with all smart home assistants without needing a hub, but you really do not get any extra features with this smart plug. There's no energy monitoring, so if you like to see what devices are pulling the most power inside your house, then I'll be showing you some smart plugs that support energy monitoring later on in the video that may be a better option for you. Leviton is a bit bigger than other smart plugs, and there's an LED on the side that can be turned off in the Leviton app, and it doubles as a physical switch, so you can turn on or off the smart plug using this button. Leviton works well in the Home app. It's quick to respond, and I have not had any issues with connection. Although this smart plug works well, there are many better options available that will give you more features at a lower price, so you're going to be able to get more bang for your buck. And speaking of better options available, let's look at the smart plugs that you should buy for your HomeKit smart home, starting with a great budget option by TP-Link. TP-Link has been around for a while now, but this is their first smart plug to support HomeKit and does not require a hub. And it's quickly become one of my favorite HomeKit smart plugs, but it's not my favorite one, and I'll show you that one later on in the video. It's small enough that you can stack multiple smart plugs together, which is an added bonus, and it does have energy monitoring like the Eve Energy smart plug and works just as well as Eve at half the cost. All of the energy data is laid out really nice in the Casa app, though I wish there were graphs as well like with the Eve app. All of the energy data is only available in the Casa app and it's not exposed in HomeKit. And this goes for any smart plug that supports energy monitoring. And on the side of the plug is the power button and an LED light that can be turned off in the Casa app. TP-Link's new smart plug has been rock solid in my smart home. It's very fast to respond in the Home app, and I've not had any issues with the connection. TP-Link is a great budget option, especially since they come in multiple packs, and I would highly recommend it if you need energy monitoring. Another brand that supports energy monitoring and is about the same cost as TP-Link is a new smart plug by SwitchBot that now works with HomeKit. SwitchBot sent me their new smart plug for a review, but as always, I'm going to let you guys know what I honestly think about this product. This smart plug works with all platforms and does not require a hub. It supports energy monitoring like Eve and TP-Link with energy data in the SwitchBot app, app that shows a graph with dates. The light on the front of the smart plug can be turned off if you'd rather not have it on, say like at night. Now what's really cool about this smart plug is that you can actually use NFC tags to control the smart plug, either to turn the plug on or off or to toggle between the power. But unfortunately, I could never get this to work. When I tried scanning multiple brand new NFC tags, I kept getting an error saying tag memory insufficient. These are just basic NFC tags that I've used for years in automations, and they actually work with controlling the SwitchBot camera via NFC, like turning it on or off. So I'm not quite sure what's happening here. These NFC tags work in the Siri Shortcuts app, so you can create a shortcut for controlling this plug and the power just by using an NFC tag. But you can really do this for any other brand as well. In the Apple Home app, controlling the smart plug has worked fine and was very fast to respond. I've not had any issues with the connection. Now the most expensive smart plug on this list, and one that I would still recommend, is by Aqara. There's a couple things that this smart plug does well, and there's a couple minor quirks that I have with this smart plug. This smart plug supports Zigbee, which means very fast response times and is slightly faster than other smart plugs, including Thread. This does, however, mean that the Aqara smart plug requires an Aqara hub in order for the smart plug to work with all smart home assistants. And this could be an additional expense if you don't already have an Aqara hub. Aqara has quickly become one of my favorite smart home brands with all their many sensors, and by having a lot of their products, you're able to create automations with them together. Like if the smart plug is on, then it could start recording a video on an Aqara camera. This smart plug also acts as a Zigbee repeater. So the more Aqara devices you have, the stronger your Zigbee network will be, creating a very reliable connection for all your Aqara devices. Aqara also supports energy monitoring, which gives you a bit more data than other smart plugs, like being able to see how much power was used on a specific day and a list view of each day of the week. When the smart plug is on, a blue light will shine on the front that unfortunately cannot be turned off in the Aqara app. And this smart plug has one major difference compared to all the other smart plugs in this video. And it's the biggest reason why I don't use many of their smart plugs throughout my house. And it's because this plug is huge, about twice as big as other smart plugs, for a reason that I cannot quite figure out. This means that the plug will take up multiple outlets at once, either on the wall or on a surge protector, unlike other smart plugs that only cover up one outlet. You could use this smart plug just on the top of a outlet, but my wife prefers a smaller, more sleeker look of smart plugs, so I don't use very of them in my house. But what I do use a lot in my house is my favorite smart home brand, Maris, and it's one that I highly recommend. I'm a huge fan of Maris, and they've been a long time favorite brand of mine. They're budget friendly, so it's easy to quickly add more around your house. They're not sponsoring this video or anything like that. I've actually spent my own money on their smart plugs over the years, and I've scattered them all throughout my house. They have a nice space-saving design, allowing for multiple smart plugs to fit, and there's an LED light on the side that can be turned off in the Miros app. My favorite feature about the smart plug is that you can create a scene to have a smart plug automatically turn off after a certain period of time. I use this daily to power a nightlight above my dog's food and water bowl so they can have a light whenever they eat. I could use a scheduled automation for this, but my dogs don't always eat at the same time every day. So by having this scene set up, whenever I turn the plug on, whenever I'm like going to bed, the dogs can eat and the smart plug will turn off after 30 minutes instead of me having to turn off the light manually. Other brands like SwitchBot, TP-Link, and Aqara all have this feature, but Miros is the only one that shows a live countdown on the home screen of their app when the smart plug will turn off. And Maris is much easier to see, especially if you have multiple timers going, which is a daily occurrence for me. Maris does not require a hub, works with all smart home platforms, and connects over Wi-Fi. In the Apple Home app, it's very fast with commands and turning on or off. Very rarely do I have connection issues with the smart plugs in the Home app. And as simple as just unplugging them and plugging them back in seems to fix the issue right away. And I've only had to do that a handful of times over the past couple of years. Some people have had a lot of issues with these plugs staying connected, but over the past couple of years, I personally have had very few issues. And unlike TP-Link and SwitchBot, Maris does not have energy monitoring, which isn't that big of a deal since I don't really have any use for that information. So which HomeKit smart plug should you buy? For the price point, I'd recommend either SwitchBot or TP-Link if you want energy monitoring. I like TP-Link a little more, but either one are great options. If you don't need energy monitoring, then Maris is a great option. And Aqara is a solid option if you use other Aqara devices and need extra range for the sensors. Let me know what HomeKit smart plugs that you would avoid and ones that you would buy down in the comment section below. Here are some more HomeKit smart plugs that I reviewed on this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.